I stood at the grill in our backyard, flipping burgers and listening to the laughter of close friends. My wife Sarah happily poured iced tea for everyone, while our daughter Ellie slept peacefully in her crib. But out of the corner of my eye, I saw a man I had never seen before reach down with both hands and lift Ellie out of her crib. I tensed up because I had never seen this man in my life. I walked over to him. "Hey, what are you doing?" She was sleeping. The stranger flashed an eerie grin, then sarcastically muttered, "Oh, was she?" I was confused. Sarah came over and was also staring at him. I whispered to Sarah, "Do you know this guy?" She shook her head. "No." I stepped closer to the strange man. Put her back in the crib. My friends kept to themselves, didn't notice anything weird. The man held my daughter closely to his chest and rocked her back and forth. "Don't worry about anything, Mike and Sarah. Ellie's in very good hands." My stomach turned with fear, and Sarah's face went pale white. I started to walk toward him to try and get my baby away from him, but he moved back. "I wouldn't do that, Mikey boy." I got enraged, clenched my fists. "If you take another step towards me, today will turn into the worst day of your life." I froze, panicked. He continued, "Sarah is going to politely tell everyone that there's a gas leak and that the fire department is on the way. Everyone needs to leave right now, and make sure you put on your best smile." My fists were trembling. "If you don't tell them to leave right now, your precious little peach will pay." My hands trembled with murderous rage. Then I nodded to Sarah, signaling that she should do what he says. She turned to the party and got their attention. "I'm so sorry, everyone. The gas company just called. There's a leak somewhere in the area, and they want everyone off the property until they can check it. Sorry." My friends groaned and moaned, then quickly left. The strange man smiled at my friends as he bounced Ellie on his hip and sang, "Rocka my baby on the treetop. If everything goes according to plan, the cradle will drop." My mom used to sing that to me. He laughed maniacally. Ellie squirmed against his shoulder and looked at me with scared, helpless eyes. "It's gonna be okay, baby. I'm here. Don't lie to her like that. How do you know everything's gonna be okay?" I lost my patience. "Why don't you quit your weird little game and tell us what the hell you want?" "I'd love to. My name's Dorian. 6 months ago, I was working out of a sweatshop in Pennsylvania. We ran phone scams, old people mostly, pretending to be the IRS, that kind of thing. One day I called your pretty little wife here." Sarah stiffened beside me. Unfortunately for me, she didn't fall for it. But Sarah is special because her dumbass father, I believe Frank is his name, is a freaking cop. He traced the call, sent a team, and kicked in our door at 4 in the morning. I went to county jail for a week. I was studying him as he talked and was searching for a way in to grab Ellie, but I could barely stop my hands from shaking. My mother had to bail me out. She was so ashamed of me, all because of you, and there's nothing I hate worse than letting down my mother. I was alarmed to hear that. Clearly, this guy's psycho. Mother had to spend $40,000 to bail me out. 2 days after I got out, she slapped me across the face so hard that my lip started bleeding. I hate it when she does that. I had to swear to her that I would pay her back, and I will. He glared at Sarah. "You owe me $40,000, you twat. Cash, right now, or you'll be at Ellie's funeral within the week." Panicked, raging thoughts pounded through my head. Then I quickly formed a plan. I calmly put my hands out towards him, trying to disarm him. "Okay, just take it easy. We have a safe upstairs, and there's about that much cash in it. But it needs both of our fingerprints to open it." "Then what the hell are you waiting for? Go open it. If you're not back in 5 minutes, I leave with her. I will not let down my mother." I took Sarah by the hand and quickly pulled her into the living room. As soon as we were past the kitchen and out of his line of sight, she started to pace frantically as tears formed. "This guy's a psycho. What are we gonna do?" "Listen, I need you to take a deep breath and hear me out. We're going to give him a duffel bag filled with toilet paper rolls and make him think it's cash. As soon as I hand it to him and he opens it up, I'll dive low and take out his legs. You grab Ellie out of his hands. Got it?" She shook with terror and I grabbed her shoulders. Sarah, I need you to be strong right now. Can you hear me?" She nodded. "Good. Ellie's going to be okay and I'm gonna tear this bastard's limbs off. But for right now, we need to stay composed and execute the plan." I steadied myself, filled up a duffel bag with toilet paper rolls, and nodded at Sarah. She gritted her teeth and we stepped out to see. He was gone. I panicked, rushed out front to see him standing near a black sedan with Ellie in his arms. "Leave the cash right here in front of me." I slowly walked over to him and set down the duffel bag. Sarah followed closely behind me. Then he pulled out a handgun, and I hesitated. My plan might have to change based on that. He knelt down, kept the gun on me, and unzipped it. My anger boiled over, and I slapped the gun out of his hand, lowered my shoulder, and tackled him into the side of his black sedan. Sarah was right beside me and grabbed Ellie out of his hands before he hit the ground. Dorian went down hard on his back onto the concrete. I got on top of him. "You messed with the wrong family, you piece of crap." I slammed as many right hooks and straight left punches across his face as I could. My rage was boiling as every hit bounced his head off of the asphalt. He was unconscious in about 5 seconds and my fists crunched into him. Even after he was out cold, I kept swinging. I heard loud pops and crunches, and then saw his neck was laying in a crooked fashion against the curb. I finally stopped, glanced at my bloodied up knuckles. I wasn't sure if he was breathing. "Mike, stop. Are you all right?" I nodded, still trying to catch my breath. Sarah held Ellie, who was softly crying on her shoulder, and I felt shame and embarrassment, having done what I just did in front of my baby. One of my fears was my little girl seeing me as a monster. I stood up, went towards them as Sarah held her tight. "It's okay, baby. Everything's all right now. No one can hurt you." Sarah glared down at the lifeless Dick. I got her attention. "Call your dad, Sarah. We're gonna need help with this." "Why?" "Because I heard his neck snap on one of the punches and it doesn't look good." Sarah's eyes bulged with terror. Then she quickly called her father, Frank. I made sure none of our neighbors could see anything and laid a blue tarp over him so no one could see anything if they drove by. Sarah hung up the phone. "He's on his way and he's bringing some help." He said, "Don't touch anything." I felt a crazy adrenaline dump and got exhausted for a few minutes before 2 unmarked Cleveland PD cruisers showed up. The 2 men inside were not in uniform and they were older, around Frank's age. They looked at me and then down at Dorian and at the pistol in the grass. Shortly thereafter, Frank arrived with his new wife, Diane. She took Sarah and Ellie into the house while Frank kneeled down to examine Dorian, felt the back of his neck, and let out a sigh. I got really nervous. "What is it?" "His neck's broken. Not sure how bad." I felt a strange mix of being satisfied and really awful at the same time. I wasn't trying to paralyze the guy, but I lost control. "Don't worry. I have connections at the hospital and at the station that can make the paperwork go away." I nodded, deeply appreciative that a guy like Frank was in my life. 1 week went by, and a police officer I didn't know called me. "Hey, just a heads up, Dorian's family is one of the worst criminal organizations on the East Coast. His parents have been running a gun and drug operation since the late 80s. I felt a chill travel up my spine. "Do you think they'll come for us?" "Unfortunately, I do." "Shit, what can we do?" "I'm not sure. It's not enough to trigger witness protection. All I can say is, watch your back." I immediately called Frank. "Did you know Dorian was connected to crime?" I had no idea. I thought it was strange that Frank didn't know that. I poured myself a drink and grew really fearful because I don't think this is over. 2 nights later, Sarah and I got Frank and Diane to babysit while we went out to dinner. We ate at an Italian place downtown, and on our way home, we reached a stretch of street that passes a quiet industrial area. I noticed a white van following us. My throat tightened, my hands gripped tighter around the wheel. Then I looked back in the rearview mirror and saw the white van pick up speed, come up right behind us, and slam into our back bumper. "Hold on!" Our car spun out of control. I felt the wheel spinning and turning. We slammed into a metal railing and we were both being flung back and forth. I smacked my nose into the wheel, while Sarah's head cracked against the dashboard. Our car hit a speed bump, then flipped over onto its roof. The world was upside down, fading in and out of darkness. Then I finally woke up and groaned in pain. I looked over at an unconscious Sarah, saw that she was completely lifeless, and I trembled in panic. "Sarah, can you hear me? Come on, babe. Please answer me." She slowly woke up and her eyes blinked several times. Then we both saw the headlight of a car through the side mirror behind us, and 3 men wearing ski masks approached us with guns. I anxiously searched for anything I might be able to use as a weapon and found nothing. I was horrified because it looked like these guys were coming to finish the job. The man on my side aimed his gun down at me. "Give us your phones and crawl out. You're coming with us." I was momentarily relieved that he didn't just end us right then and there. Sarah took her cell phone and quickly put it down her bra. The doors were ripped open as 2 men in ski masks cut off our seatbelts with a hunting blade and dragged us out. All the blood had rushed to my head, and I felt a sharp pain in my lower back from the wreck. My head was pounding, and I saw some blood trickling down onto my eyelids. They zip-tied our hands in front, then threw black hoods over our heads. I couldn't see anything but shapes through the dark wool. Then I heard Sarah, "Please don't hurt us. We can give you money if that's what you want." I was anguished hearing Sarah pleading like that. "It's gonna be okay, Sarah." We got shoved into the back of a van that smelled like motor oil and old carpet. My shoulder hit the steel flooring and I felt Sarah land beside me. The van started and my mind was racing in a panic. What did they want with us, and where the hell were they taking us? A man's voice spoke out from the front. "Boss lady is pissed at these fools. Yeah, this one should be extra bloody." I felt my guts turn over in terror. This was payback, and if we didn't escape, we were dead. "We're going to take a little drive. Better enjoy it because it will be your last." I was well beyond panicked, and my drive for survival kicked in hard. I started feeling for any part of the zip ties to see if I could somehow escape. I heard Sarah crying and breathing heavily, so I put my head against hers, trying to signal that I was here for her. I felt the van move quickly, then slow down at intersections. I felt it speed up again and tried to count turns and distances, but lost track. Sarah whispered, "My phone." Our hands were tied in the front, so I could reach into her bra. I took her phone out and lifted her hood just enough so she could see the screen. I heard the soft click of her tapping the screen as the trunk faintly lit up. She tapped a name, then held the phone awkwardly between her shoulder and her ear. Frank picked up on the first ring. "Sarah?" She spoke in barely a whisper. "Daddy." Her voice cracked. "We've been taken. Track us." The man called out. "Shut the hell up." My entire body was trembling, and all I could do was take long, deep breaths and try to control my fear. I thought of how I might try and escape as soon as we get out. After about 10 minutes, the van stopped and the back doors opened. Hands yanked us out and the hoods came off. We got shoved down to our knees. I adjusted my eyes and saw that we were in an empty warehouse. The three men stood in a half circle around us, rifles slung over their shoulders. Then a Rolls-Royce pulled up into the warehouse, and a black-haired woman stepped out of it. She was small, maybe 50 years old, with a long dark coat and leather gloves. She glared down at us. I was really confused because I had never seen this woman in my life. "So you two bastards are the ones responsible for crippling my only son." I felt a surge of terror roll through me. This woman wanted vengeance. I had to try some kind of tactic to get through to her. "Did you know what your son did to us?" "I don't care, because whatever he didn't deserve what you did to him. He held our 9-month-old baby captive because he wanted $40,000. She smiled as if she was proud. "What can I say? He's always been a very resourceful kid." I couldn't help myself. "Is that why he worked as a scammer in a sweatshop?" "He chose to do that because he wanted his own independence. He was rebelling against his father, and he was trying to break away from the family business and prove that he could do his own thing. He failed, just like I knew he would. Enough talk of the past. I'm going to give you 2 life-altering choices. Since you're the one that crippled my son, you will be the one to choose. Your wife will either die tonight or go and work in a sweatshop in India in the rice paddies for the rest of her life. Your choice." At first, I thought she was actually kidding. Then my neck stiffened when I realized that she wasn't. And if you're thinking that she might be able to escape, she won't. We have armed guards that surround the rice fields and shoot anyone that tries to run. I closed my eyes for a few moments. This was beyond even my worst nightmare. Choice number 2. You're gonna have to choose between your life or your baby's life. My anxiety shot through the roof. Then I glared at this bitch. If it's between my baby and myself, that's not even a choice. I'll choose my child's survival any day. Okay, fine. One choice has been made. Now what about your wife? She's had nothing to do with this. This was all on me. So I'm asking you, please let her go. She never hurt your son. Just punish me, not her. Please. Absolutely not. You turned one of my loved ones into a freaking vegetable. You will feel what it's like to lose someone you love, just like I have. She nodded to one of her men. It's time for him to choose. The man stood right in front of me and aimed his rifle at my face. My blood boiled over with rage and fear. Sarah wept. "Don't worry about me. I'll be their slave. It's okay." "Hell no. What are you talking about? I can't lose you." I didn't know what to do or say. "I will give you 3 seconds. 3. I froze in panic. 2. I hesitated and mumbled incoherently as the gunman cocked his rifle and stuck the barrel against my head. Sarah wept harder. "Please, don't do this. Your son was the one that brought this nightmare to our doorstep, not us." Sarah was right, but this crazy bitch didn't care. "It's time to choose. Death or slavery. 1. Time's up." I shook my head and trembled, at a loss. I saw the gunman start to pull the trigger, then I heard Frank's voice. "Put your guns down right now." The 3 armed men aimed their rifles at Frank, who held a handgun and was on his own. "The cops are 2 minutes behind me. Just put the guns down and no one's gonna get hurt." I was momentarily relieved, but scared that he wouldn't be able to take down all 3 men. The woman stepped out of the shadows towards Frank. "Hello, Frank." Frank was shocked when she said that. I froze with even more panic. How do you know his name?" "Oh, he didn't tell you? Frank here's been taking payouts from our organization for over 20 years. Sarah and I were horrified. Sarah's eyes squinted at Frank. "Is that true?" Frank hesitated long enough to let us know that it was the truth. "Look, I'll explain everything later. Right now, you need to let them go and get out of here before the cops come." The woman smiled. "You never called any cops. Stop bluffing. I've known you for 20 years, asshole. I can smell a lie a mile away." Frank held his gun as the 3 men kept their rifles aimed at him. The woman got in Frank's face. "Since tonight is a wonderful game of choices, I'd like to use this opportunity to test a father's love for his daughter." Frank's face turned pale. "Look, Eleanor, this isn't the time. I think it's exactly the time. How much money do you want to walk away and leave your daughter for dead? Name your price. Frank shifted around nervously. Don't make me choose. Sarah was betrayed, disgusted. Eleanor got closer to Frank and put the barrel of his gun down. How much for the life of your daughter? Give me a number. He stared down at the ground, then quietly said, 5 million in cash. Sarah lunged up and tried to kick him, enraged. She screamed, "You're dead to me, you piece of shit. No wonder Mom left you." The gunman held her back and shoved her down to her knees. I was so pissed when I thought of all the times I helped this man and treated him like family. Eleanor was loving every second of this. I must say, I don't get surprised very often, but I am this time. Choosing cash over your own flesh and blood. Impressively vicious. Maybe you should come and work for me. He stared down at the ground in shame. Do we have a deal or not? No. I just wanted to destroy your family, and you did that all by yourself. I'm not giving you a penny. Frank turned red with rage, then raised his gun, and I heard, "Pop! Pop!" The two gunmen put bullets in him and ended Frank. Sarah was staring down at him in shock. Then I quickly used the opportunity of them aiming at Frank to grab her hand, and we both took off running towards a back entrance. Clack, clack, clack. Gunshots rattled out behind us and bounced off of the warehouse walls. I felt 2 bullets whiz past my head and ran faster. We rushed out of the main area of the warehouse, then down a hallway and into a large area of cubicles. The 3 gunmen were approaching us fast, and we ran further in and ducked down behind a desk in a cubicle. My palms were sweating as my heart pounded. I signaled for Sarah to be as quiet as possible, then saw a pair of scissors, grabbed it, and cut off our zip ties. I held the scissors in my hand as a weapon, and then waited. I heard one of the men whisper, "Split up." I clutched onto my scissors, peeked around the edge of the cubicle wall, and saw one of the men approaching us. He didn't see us, so I lifted the scissors and got ready for combat. He got closer, closer, closer. Then, as he got right next to our cubicle, he stopped. I held my breath and stayed as still as possible. If he took another step, I was going to attack. Then he quickly spun around the edge of our cubicle and aimed his gun at us. He knew we were there. I smacked his gun barrel out of our faces as he fired a shot. I lunged up and stuck the scissors into his midsection. As we fell, I covered his mouth so he couldn't call out for the others. His eyes bulged as he felt the knife inside him, then drifted away. We ducked down and rushed out of a back door and saw nothing but miles and miles of thick woods in front of us. I slammed the door shut behind us to buy us some time, and we took off running into the woods. Now we were in my terrain. I had grown up hunting with my dad, so I welcomed these assholes to chase us. I found the first oak tree and hid Sarah underneath some brush. I climbed the nearest perch of branches, aimed the rifle, and waited. I saw the first man approaching my position. He had no idea where I was. I focused the scope, caught him in the crosshairs, let out a slow, controlled breath, and pulled the trigger. He was gone before he hit the ground. His last remaining buddy heard the shot and carefully approached his friend's position. He was smarter, saw me up in the tree, and fired 2 shots that almost got me. I jumped down the tree and heard 2 more shots go off right behind me. Ah, shit! I took off running, unsure of how close he was behind me. Another bullet whizzed by me. Son of a bitch! Then another bullet bounced off the tree next to me, and I ran a few hundred feet and saw the entrance to a cave. I snuck in, waited right by the entrance to the right. He rushed in, gun aimed, and I had a bullet waiting for him. It was really dark, but the muzzle fire from my rifle revealed his position and his fate. He hit the cave floor, gone. I grabbed his rifle, took out the bullets, and headed back towards where Sarah was hidden. I arrived and saw that she wasn't there. My heart sank. I tasted a bitter fear and clenched my fists in frustration. Did Eleanor find her? Did she kill her? I searched everywhere and couldn't find her at all. I made my way back to the warehouse, slammed open the door in a panic, and saw Eleanor holding Sarah by the back of her neck, and she had a gun to her head. I aimed my rifle, trying to get a clean shot. I wouldn't do that if I were you. Put your gun down, or your wife gets it. I was terrified for Sarah. I knew I only had one chance to save her, and I couldn't do that by lowering my gun. Eleanor saw me hesitate and yelled out. I said, "Put it down right now." I aimed again, then thought of some way I could signal to Sarah to duck down. I didn't need to, because Sarah had such a wild-eyed, vicious gaze in her eyes and wasn't going to let this old bitch take us down. She waited for Eleanor to look away, then gripped onto her wrist and bit down so hard it caused her to drop the gun and wail out in pain. Ah! I didn't hesitate. I fired one clean shot and sent the evil twat to the fiery halls of hell. I made sure there was no one else, then pulled Sarah in close. We hugged and shed a few tears of relief. "I'm so sorry about your dad." "Don't be. He deserved what he got." We stepped out, found Sarah's cell phone and called the police. They arrived and we took them through everything that happened. When they saw Eleanor and identified her, they were celebrating like they won the lottery. She was on the FBI's most wanted list for the last 27 years. They all congratulated me, but I didn't care. I just wanted to go and pick up Ellie and go home. A few hours later, Sarah and I drove by Frank and Diane's house to pick up Ellie, and we were both afraid of what we would tell Diane about who Frank really was. We knocked on the front door and saw that it was partially open. We entered and saw that the whole place was empty, and Diane had packed up her bags and taken Ellie. She was gone. Sarah and I shared a terrified look.